The makeshift spacecraft shuddered violently as Captain Alex Mercer slammed the throttle forward, skimming just above the dense alien jungle canopy that stretched endlessly beneath him. The roar of the engines barely masked the sharp, staccato bursts of laser fire streaking past his cockpit, each shot a deadly reminder that his pursuers were closing in fast. His fingers clenched the controls so tightly that his knuckles blanched white, sweat trickling down his temple despite the chill of the recycled air inside the cramped cabin. If I fail, Alex thought, jaw tightening, it's not just me who dies out here. Earth's future burns with me. A sudden explosion rocked the fuselage, throwing the cockpit into a chaos of flashing alarms and sparking consoles. The craft lurched sideways, and Alex fought to steady it, gritting his teeth against the mounting panic clawing at his mind. Come on, keep it together," he muttered under his breath, voice hoarse but steady. The jungle below blurred past as he banked sharply, weaving through towering alien trees whose twisting limbs seemed eager to tear the fragile ship apart. Behind him, the sleek, menacing alien fighters matched his every move, their silhouettes dark and unyielding against the alien sky. His breath hitched when a fresh salvo of lasers tore through the air just feet from his tail. The shriek of metal scraping metal echoed in the cockpit as the craft jolted violently, systems flashing critical warnings. Alex's heart pounded in his chest like a war drum. "I can't let them catch me, not now." His eyes flicked to the navigation console, no friendly backup, no safe harbor in sight, just endless green wilderness and hostile skies. He swallowed hard, his mind racing through every training protocol, every desperate maneuver he'd ever learned. But this wasn't a simulation, this was real, and failure meant extinction. Before he could process his next move, the cockpit was bathed in a fiery orange glow as another explosion rocked the hull. The pilot's seat jolted beneath him, and a metallic groan reverberated through the frame. "Damn it!" Alex hissed, shoving a lever to divert power to the shields. His eyes darted across the damage reports. Hull integrity dropping, engines overheating. "Hold together, damn you!" His voice was barely above a whisper, but the resolve behind it was ironclad. Captain Alex Mercer was no stranger to chaos. Once a decorated test pilot for Earth's elite exploratory fleet, he had mastered machines far more temperamental than this patchwork vessel. But this mission was different. This time, the stakes were higher than medals or accolades. The survival of humanity itself hung in the balance. His past was littered with narrow escapes and daring flights, but nothing had prepared him for the weight of this responsibility. Born into a world on the brink, where Earth's resources dwindled and political tensions simmered, Alex had volunteered for the fleet's most dangerous expeditions. His reputation as a skilled pilot was matched only by the shadows that haunted him. The loss of his crew during a failed mission, the guilt that gnawed at him in sleepless nights. "I can't lose them again," he often told himself, voice tight with barely concealed pain. The memory of their faces, frozen in time, fueled his determination. Inside the cramped cockpit, the dim glow of the control panel illuminated his sharp features, eyes hardened by experience but still flickering with a spark of hope. His hands moved with practiced precision, toggling switches, adjusting thrusters, all while scanning the rapidly closing distance behind him. "They're relentless," he muttered, muscles taut, "but so am I." The ship itself was a far cry from the sleek fighters Alex had flown during his days at the Fleet Academy. This cobbled-together craft bore the scars of countless repairs, its hull patched with mismatched alloys, salvaged from crashed vessels and derelict outposts. The cockpit was cluttered with improvised gauges and jury-rigged consoles, the product of desperate engineering rather than elegance. Yet somehow it flew, and for now that was enough. A sudden flicker on the radar caught Alex's attention, a blip moving faster than the rest. His fingers hesitated over the controls as a cold knot of dread tightened in his stomach. "No," he breathed, "not another one." The alien fighters weren't just chasing him, they were coordinating. Their movements were too precise, too deliberate. This was an ambush. "Come on, old girl," he whispered to the ship, his voice rough but affectionate. "You've got to hold together for just a little longer." The ship groaned in protest, engines sputtering as if sensing his desperation. Outside, the jungle canopy stretched like an endless ocean of green, deceptively calm beneath the chaos above. Alex's mind flashed back to the moment everything went wrong, the unexpected attack during what should have been a routine reconnaissance mission. The fleet had underestimated the alien presence, and now he was the last survivor, carrying data vital to Earth's defense. If I can just make it to the extraction point, the thought was a fragile thread, but it was all he had. His fingers danced over the controls, initiating evasive maneuvers honed over years of training. The ship dipped and rolled, narrowly avoiding another barrage of laser fire that scorched the air where he had just been moments before. His breath came in short gasps, heart hammering. "You're not getting me that easily." Suddenly, a crackling voice burst through the comms, static-laden but unmistakable. "Mercer, status report. Are you alive?" Alex's jaw tightened. "Barely. I'm taking heavy fire, but I'm still in the fight. Data's secure, but I'm running on fumes." "Hold on," the voice urged. "Extraction team is en route. Just hold your position." Alex exhaled sharply, a flicker of hope amidst the storm. "Copy that. I'll buy you all the time I can." The sleek alien fighters closed in again, their engines humming ominously. Alex's eyes narrowed as he lined up his next move. With a sudden burst of speed, he plunged the ship into a narrow canyon carved deep into the jungle. A desperate gamble. The alien craft hesitated, their larger frames ill-suited for such tight spaces. "Come on," Alex urged, weaving through jagged rock faces and thick vegetation. The ship's hull scraped against stone, sparks flying, but the damage was worth it if it meant escape. His muscles burned with exertion, every nerve on edge. As he emerged from the canyon, a massive explosion erupted behind him. His pursuers had taken the bait, crashing into the rocky walls. Alex didn't glance back. Instead, he fixed his gaze on the horizon, where a faint glimmer of hope awaited, the extraction point. His heart still raced, but beneath the adrenaline, a stubborn ember of determination burned brighter than ever. "I'm not done yet," he whispered. "Not while Earth still needs me." The jungle below stretched endlessly, but Alex Mercer was ready to face whatever came next, because failure was not an option. The acrid scent of burnt circuitry hung in the humid air, mingling with the damp. Earthy aroma of alien foliage crushed beneath Alex Mercer's boots. The twisted wreckage of his ship lay scattered like a metallic corpse, its hull scorched and splintered, half buried in the thick undergrowth. He crouched beside a jagged panel, fingers trembling as he pried open a compartment, revealing a tangle of broken alien tech fused with Earth-made components. His breath caught, not from exhaustion, but from the eerie familiarity of the strange devices, their surfaces etched with symbols that pulsed faintly, as if alive. "Damn it," he muttered, voice hoarse, wiping grime from his brow. What the hell were they after? His eyes darted over the fragments, cracked energy cells, fractured circuit boards, and a damaged console that blinked erratically. The ship systems hacked and battered. Whispered secrets Alex wasn't sure he was ready to hear. His fingers fumbled with a cracked data pad, trying to salvage any information. The soft crackle of static startled him. Comm lines flickering to life with a voice distorted, fragmented but urgent. "Mercer, do you copy? This is Earth Command. You're transmitting, but you're not alone," the voice warned, voice strained by interference. "Hostile alien squadron detected. They're locking onto your signal. You need to move now." Alex's heart hammered in his chest. He pressed the comm button, voice tight but steady. "Understood. I'm scavenging what I can. Any extraction, Eta. Negative. Signal is unstable. You're on your own until further notice," came the reply, static swallowing the last words. Then silence. He sank back, the weight of isolation pressing down like the humid jungle canopy above. The guilt gnawed at him. images of his lost comrades flashing through his mind like a relentless nightmare. "I'm sorry," he whispered, voice cracking. "I should have been there. I shouldn't have left you behind." A rustle in the undergrowth snapped his attention upward. His hand instinctively went to the sidearm strapped to his thigh. Eyes scanning the shadows, muscles coiled. A flicker of movement, too deliberate to be a stray animal. His pulse quickened, every sense on high alert. "Show yourself," he demanded, voice low but firm. From behind a twisted vine, a small drone-like device hovered into view, its surface gleaming with alien alloys. It emitted a soft hum, then projected a holographic warning in a language Alex didn't recognize but felt viscerally threatening. The image shifted, showing a squadron of alien fighters, their sleek forms encircling a pulsating energy source. "There after that," Alex muttered, piecing it together. "The rare energy core we picked up on the last mission." He glanced back at the wreckage, mind racing. The crashed ship had been carrying experimental tech, something Earth had hoped to harness. Now it was a beacon attracting predators. The jungle suddenly seemed alive, shadows stretching and twisting, as unseen eyes watched from every corner. Alex rose, scanning the horizon where the thick canopy melded into an ominous twilight. Every crack of a twig, every whisper of the wind sounded like a warning. He spoke aloud, partly to steady himself. "All right, Mercer. You're not just scavenging anymore. You're hunted. Time to move." His hands moved with practiced precision, gathering salvageable parts, energy cells, a damaged comm unit, and a makeshift scanner, jury-rigged from alien tech. Each piece was a lifeline in this hostile wilderness. Sweat dripped down his temple, mixing with grime, but his movements never faltered. Suddenly, the comm crackled again. "Mercer, you need to shut down your active transmissions. They're homing in on your signal." Alex frowned, toggling the scanner off. "Got it, going dark." The jungle's silence pressed in, thick and suffocating. He slipped deeper into the undergrowth, every step calculated, every breath measured. The weight of loneliness settled over him, yet beneath it simmered a fierce resolve. "This planet's a trap," he whispered, fingers tightening around a salvaged alien blade, an improvised weapon against unknown threats. "But I'm not going down without a fight." Hours bled into one another as Alex navigated the alien jungle, the canopy filtering shards of dying light. Strange, bioluminescent plants cast eerie glows on gnarled trunks. Every rustle hinted at predators stalking him, every distant screech a reminder that this world was not welcoming. He paused beside a shallow pool, dipping a water container to quench his thirst. Reflected in the murky surface was a man weathered beyond his years, eyes sharp but shadowed by doubt, jaw clenched against the weight of loss and responsibility. "Guilt's a poison," he muttered, "but it's also a fuel." A sudden beep from the salvaged comm unit shattered the fragile comm. Alex froze, heart leaping. The device flickered to life, projecting a fragmented map of the planet with a blinking red dot. An alien squadron closing in. "They're closer than I thought," he breathed, voice tight. No time to waste. He rose, muscles aching but mind razor-focused. As he moved, he spoke softly, a mantra against the creeping fear. "I won't let them win, not here, not now." Deeper into the jungle, signs of the alien presence became more blatant. Scorch marks on trees, strange glyphs carved into bark, and remnants of alien patrols. Each discovery sharpened his resolve, but also tightened the noose of danger. Suddenly, a low growl echoed nearby. Alex spun, weapon raised, eyes piercing the gloom. From the shadows emerged a creature unlike anything he'd seen, sleek, with iridescent scales and eyes glowing with intelligence and menace. It regarded him silently before retreating into the darkness. Alex exhaled, pulse pounding. "Not just the aliens," he muttered. "This planet's alive and hostile." He pressed onward, scavenging what he could from the wreckage to repair his comm system, hoping to send a distress signal strong enough for rescue. Every salvaged part was a lifeline, every moment a gamble. "Keep moving," he urged himself, voice rough with exhaustion. "Find shelter, find a way home." Night fell like a curtain, the jungle alive with alien sounds and unseen threats. Alex huddled beneath a canopy of glowing leaves, clutching the damaged tech clothes, mind spinning with plans and fears. "I'm not safe here," he admitted aloud, "but I'm not defeated." The crackling calm buzzed faintly, a reminder of the world beyond, a world watching, waiting. And somewhere in the darkness, the alien squadron closed the circle, hunting the last survivor of a failed mission. Alex Mercer's fight had only just begun. The low hum of scavenged circuits filled the dim jungle clearing as Alex Mercer wiped the grime-streaked sweat from his brow, lips pressed tight in grim determination. "Almost there," he muttered, voice ragged but resolute, fingers deftly fitting a jury-rigged power conduit into the patchwork hull of his makeshift spacecraft. The tangled mass of alien alloy and earth-forged metal groaned softly, as if protesting the strain of survival. Each day in this hostile jungle had been a battle, not just against the alien predators lurking in the shadows, but against the creeping doubt clawing at his mind. "Can I really pull this off?" Alex whispered to the empty air, eyes flickering nervously over the crude instruments that blinked erratically beneath his calloused fingertips. The weight of isolation pressed down like the suffocating canopy above, every sound amplified, the distant crack of a snapping branch, the rustle of unseen creatures weaving through dense foliage. Strange signals had begun to spike on his salvaged scanner, patterns too erratic for natural phenomena. "They're closing in," he realized, a cold knot tightening in his gut. His survival depended on this, building a spacecraft capable of piercing the jungle atmosphere and outrunning the alien pursuers, hunting him relentlessly. But the task seemed impossible. Every part scavenged was a gamble, every wiring splice a fragile promise. The pressure gnawed at him, a relentless whisper, "You're not enough. You're going to fail." Alex clenched his jaw, fighting back the surge of panic. "No," he said firmly, voice steady despite the turmoil. "If I don't get out of here, Earth's colonies are as good as dead." That thought ignited a flicker of fierce resolve beneath the exhaustion. He glanced at the crude cockpit layout sprawled before him, a tangled mess of mismatched parts salvaged from wreckage and alien debris. "You just have to hold on a little longer." Hours blurred into a sleepless night as Alex soldered, calibrated, and tested. The hostile jungle, sounds pressing in like a living beast. His fingers ached, every movement precise but weary. At one point, a rustling burst from the undergrowth, and he spun, heart-hammering, weapon drawn. The shadows held nothing but silence. "Damn it, stop playing with my nerves," he growled, lowering the sidearm. Then, without warning, a shrill burst of static fractured the airwaves. The comm unit crackled to life, distorted but clear enough to send a shiver down his spine. "Mercer, strange signals detected near your location. Hostile presence increasing." The voice was clipped, urgent. "Be advised, ambush attempts reported in the jungle. Proceed with extreme caution." Alex swallowed hard, mind racing. "I'm working on it," he replied, voice tight. "If I don't get this ship airborne soon, I won't last the night." The reply was lost in static as the line went dead. The jungle seemed to close in tighter, shadows lengthening as dawn's first pale light filtered through the dense canopy. Alex wiped blood and sweat from a fresh scratch on his cheek, teeth clenched against the rising tide of fear. "They're out there," he muttered, eyes flicking to the scanner's flickering readout. Waiting. The following days were a brutal test of endurance and ingenuity. Every step forward was met with near-fatal encounters, camouflaged alien hunters springing traps, laser fire streaking through the undergrowth, the constant threat of unseen eyes watching his every move. Once a sudden ambush forced him into a desperate sprint, limbs burning as he crashed through the brush, heart pounding like a war drum. Another time, he scrambled from a collapsing tree, limbs scraped raw, breath ragged. Yet amid the chaos, progress came. The ship took shape, rudimentary but functional. Alex's hands, though trembling at times, crafted and repaired with a mechanical precision born of desperation. Panels were reinforced with alien alloys, energy cells jury-rigged into power conduits, navigation controls cobbled together from broken consoles. The cockpit, a cramped nest of blinking lights and patched components, slowly responded to his coaxing. One evening, as the alien sun dipped below the horizon, Alex sat back on a makeshift seat, wiping grime from his face. His eyes lingered on the cockpit's faint glow. "You're not pretty," he whispered, voice thick with exhaustion, "but you might just save my life." Doubt gnawed. Could this fragile thing withstand the hostile skies? Could he pilot it through the storm? A sudden crackle shattered the quiet. The scanner flared red, a swarm of alien fighters closing fast. Alex's breath caught, muscles tensing. "No time," he muttered, scrambling to the cockpit. The ship shuddered as he powered up the engines, systems flickering alive beneath his hands. "Come on, come on!" His voice was a desperate prayer as the thrusters roared, the craft trembling under the strain. Then, with a lurch, it lifted off, barely clearing the jungle canopy. The alien fighters appeared like shadows against the burning sky, sleek and merciless. Laser bursts screamed past, searing the air and rattling the ship's patched hull. Warning alarms blared, blinking red across the console. Alex's fingers flew over controls, weaving the craft through jagged tree branches and swirling clouds of bioluminescent spores. The ship groaned, systems flickering under the relentless assault. "Hold together, damn you!" Alex hissed, sweat beading on his forehead. His mind raced. Flight protocols, evasive maneuvers, every scrap of training poured into this moment. But the pressure was suffocating. The ship's engines sputtered, a warning light blinked violently. "No, no, no!" He yanked a lever, diverting power to shields, but the systems protested. His thoughts fractured, torn between survival and sacrifice. Flee selfishly, or draw them away to protect Earth's colonies. The weight of responsibility pressed down, heavier than the cockpit's confinement. Suddenly, a sharp jolt rocked the ship, a missile impact tore through a wing panel. Sparks flying inside the cabin. The controls jerked wildly. Alex's heart pounded, sweat slicked his palms. "Think, Mercer, you're not done yet." The alien fighters closed in, relentless and precise, their engines humming a deadly chorus. The jungle canopy blurred beneath as Alex banked hard, narrowly dodging another barrage. The ship's hull screamed under the strain, metal groaning like a living thing. "Stay with me," he whispered fiercely. "For them, all of them." A mechanical failure seized the engines, and the craft shuddered violently, systems dying one by one. The cockpit plunged into darkness save for the faint glow of emergency lights. Alex's breath hitched, fingers trembling over the controls. "Come on, damn it!" His voice cracked, raw with desperation. With a surge of will, he rerouted power to the remaining thrusters, coaxing the craft upward. The alien fighters hesitated, momentarily thrown by the unexpected maneuver. Alex's jaw tightened, eyes blazing with fierce determination. "I won't let you win, not today." The jungle stretched below, endless and unforgiving, but for now he was airborne, fighting not just for himself, but for the fragile hope of humanity's future. The first climax had erupted in a symphony of fire and steel, and though battered, Alex Mercer was far from defeated. The cockpit lights flickered wildly, casting erratic shadows across Alex Mercer's grim face as his ship shuddered beneath the strain of dwindling power. Outside, the alien squadron's sleek silhouettes drifted closer, their engines humming a chilling prelude to another assault. Alex's jaw clenched, fingers gripping the controls with a desperate intensity born of exhaustion and fear. "Damn it," he muttered, voice rough. "This can't end here. Not like this." His eyes darted to the energy readouts, batteries almost spent, shields barely holding. Every system groaned under the relentless push, the fragile patchwork of alien and Earth tech threatening to unravel at any moment. Yet the mission's weight pressed heavier than the failing engines. Earth's fate depended on what came next, and retreat was no longer an option. A crackle burst through the comms, ragged and distorted. "Mercer, stayed us." The voice was tense, clipped by static but unmistakably Earth command. Alex exhaled sharply. "Holding, but resources are critical." The alien squadron isn't backing off. I'm running out of options. A pause, then the voice returned, urgency sharpened by desperation. We've detected a nebula up ahead. High electromagnetic activity. It's volatile, dangerous, but it might be your best bet. Alex's mind raced, the implications unfolding in a heartbeat. The nebula's storms were legendary. Ships that ventured too far were shredded by unpredictable pulses of energy. But it also meant cover, chaos, an opportunity to turn the tables. "Lead them in," he said, voice steady despite the pounding in his chest. "If this works, it has to be now." The ship lurched as Alex guided it toward the swirling maw of the nebula, a tempest of crackling light and shadow. The electromagnetic storms danced violently across the storm clouds, arcs of unstable energy tearing through the cosmic fog like jagged lightning. The alien fighters hesitated, their sensors likely scrambling in the chaotic interference. Alex sensed the moment slipping away, the narrow window to enact the trap closing fast. Inside the cockpit, sweat dripped down his temple, mixing with the grime of battle. His breath came in short, ragged bursts. The unstable tech embedded within his ship, a volatile fusion of alien circuitry and Earth's experimental prototypes, was a double-edged sword. If triggered here, at the storm's heart, it could unleash a pulse powerful enough to disable the alien ships, but it also risked destroying his own vessel. His fingers hovered over the activation switch, a cold tremor running through him. The voices of his lost crew echoed faintly in his mind, ghosts urging sacrifice. "Is this the moment? Can I do it?" The internal battle raged fiercely. "Alex," he whispered to himself, voice barely audible over the storm's howl, "this is your choice. Run and live, or fight and save billions." The ship jolted violently, an electromagnetic surge rocking it like a fragile leaf caught in a hurricane. Warning lights blinked frantically. Alex gritted his teeth, steadying the controls. The alien fighters closed in, their forms flickering like phantoms through the nebula's maelstrom. He spoke aloud, as if to steel his resolve. "For Earth, for them." With a decisive motion, Alex flipped the switch. A pulse exploded outward, a shockwave of raw energy rippling through the nebula's chaos. The alien ships convulsed violently, systems overloading as electromagnetic interference shut down engines and weapons in rapid succession. The eerie silence of disabled fighters filled the void, broken only by the distant hum of failing systems. Inside his cockpit, alarms blared in protest. The unstable tech reacted unpredictably, circuits sparking, power surging dangerously close to meltdown. Alex's hands flew over controls, battling to stabilize the failing systems. The hull groaned under the strain. The ship trembled as if on the edge of collapse. His breath hitched, heart hammering wildly. "Come on, hold together." Through the haze of pain and fatigue, his mind raced. Escape seemed impossible. The ship's core temperature rising, critical failures cascading through vital components. Yet, even as systems faltered, a flicker of hope burned. The alien threat was neutralized, at least for now. "Alex, stay us," the comm crackled weakly. His voice was strained but resolute. "Trap triggered, alien squadron disabled, ship's integrity failing. I'm not sure how much longer I can hold." The silence that followed was thick with unspoken fear. Time fractured as Alex fought the dying ship. Moments stretched into eternities. The nebula's tempest raged outside, the violent electromagnetic storms tearing at the vessel's fragile frame. The cockpit flickered between darkness and emergency lighting, casting haunting shadows across his gaunt face. His thoughts drifted, a torrent of memories and regrets mingling with the cold reality. Faces of comrades lost, the countless nights spent dreaming of a future for humanity, now teetering on the edge. Yet beneath the despair, a quiet pride persisted. "I chose this," he admitted, voice barely above a whisper. "For them, for Earth." The ship shuddered again, systems failing one by one. Alex's fingers slipped from the controls as dizziness claimed him. The last thing he saw was the nebula's glowing heart, a swirling vortex of light and shadow. When consciousness returned, it was to a silence so profound it was almost unbearable. The storm had passed, or perhaps the ship had too. Alex blinked, the dim glow of emergency lights faintly illuminating the shattered cockpit. Systems were dead. The hull breached in places, but he was alive. Outside, through the cracked viewport, the nebula's chaos had given way to a vast emptiness. No alien ships in pursuit. The trap had worked. Pain lanced through his body, exhaustion crashing over him like a tidal wave. Yet, amid the wreckage, a spark of triumph flickered. He reached the comm panel, fingers trembling as he keyed the radio. "This is Mercer. The alien squadron is down. Repeat, squadron disabled." Static answered, then a voice, faint, distant, but unmistakably relief-tinged. "Copy, Mercer. We read you. Extraction is en route. Hold tight." Alex exhaled, a weary smile cracking his lips. The cost had been high, too high, but the sacrifice had bought time. Time for Earth, for humanity's fragile hope. Hours later, as rescue shuttles pierced the nebula's edge, Alex lay back against the cold metal, eyes closed but mind alight with reflection. "I risked everything," asterisk he thought, "because some things are worth more than survival. Because sometimes the greatest victory is knowing you stood when others faltered." His gaze drifted to the stars beyond, the endless void, the unknown future. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. Yet in that quiet moment, Captain Alex Mercer knew one truth above all. Courage, sacrifice, and resolve would light the dark path ahead, and he was ready to walk it. The ship's hull shuddered violently beneath Alex Mercer's trembling hands, the final echoes of the energy pulse still rippling through the nebula's fading storm. Yet the silence that followed was not one of peace. It was the heavy calm before the inevitable collapse. The patched craft, a fragile amalgam of alien alloys and earthbound ingenuity, groaned under the strain of critical damage. Warning lights flickered erratically, casting an eerie red glow across the cockpit, each beep a reminder of the mounting peril. Alex's breath hitched as the last of the ship's systems flickered and died one by one. His eyes, sharp but shadowed by exhaustion, darted over the failing consoles. Hull integrity was at 15%, engines sputtering on the edge of failure. The once vibrant glow of the control panel faded into a dull, lifeless hum. Outside, the swirling nebula's chaotic light had dimmed, now replaced by an endless void stretching into the abyss. He gritted his teeth, fingers tightening their grip on the controls even as the craft lurched uncontrollably. "Hold together, damn it!" he whispered, voice cracking with desperation. The cockpit trembled violently as a fresh jolt rocked the vessel, metal creaking as if protesting its imminent demise. In the dim glow, Alex's mind raced, not with tactical calculations or escape plans, but with the weight of what he had sacrificed. The faces of his fallen comrades flashed vividly behind his closed eyelids, their silent gazes haunting the fragile barrier between life and oblivion. "I'm sorry," he whispered, voice barely audible. "I carried your hopes with me. I couldn't let it end in vain." The storm's aftermath left the alien squadron decimated. The pulse had crippled their ships, sending them spiraling into the nebula's violent heart or crashing onto barren moons. But the victory was Pyrrhic. His own craft, a battered shell, was barely holding together, drifting aimlessly through the void. The violent storm had broken their pursuit, but it had also left Alex stranded, a lone survivor adrift in the cold emptiness. He slumped against the worn seat, chest heaving with ragged breaths. The silence inside the cockpit was oppressive, broken only by the faint hiss of leaking atmosphere and the faint, irregular beeps of the emergency life support systems. The ship's inert mass slowly rotated, a helpless relic in the vastness of space. Alex's fingers brushed the cracked viewport, tracing the faint starfield beyond. The endless darkness was as vast as the burden on his soul. "If this is the cost of survival," he murmured, voice thick with fatigue, "then what price is too high?" Memories surged forward like tidal waves, visions of Earth's dwindling colonies, the desperation in the voices back home, the fragile hope pinned on his mission. He recalled the last transmission from command. Extraction is en route. Hold tight. But he knew the truth. Rescue was uncertain in this hostile sector, and his ship's failing systems meant time was a dwindling currency. His gaze shifted to the makeshift console, where a flickering hologram of Earth's blue orb shimmered softly. For them, he breathed, for everyone left behind. The crushing solitude bore down, but beneath it simmered a stubborn flame, hope. Alex's thoughts twisted through a labyrinth of moral conflict. The choice to trigger the pulse had been his alone, to risk obliterating both alien foes and his own vessel, to protect humanity's fragile hold on the stars. Was the sacrifice justified? Was survival at such a cost truly victory? His mind recoiled at the complexity, the blurred lines between heroism and recklessness, duty and futility. A faint crackle stirred the calm panel, the first sign of life in hours. Alex's heart leapt, fingers fumbling to stabilize the signal. "This is Mercer," he rasped, voice ragged but steady. "Ship damaged, drifting, awaiting extraction." Static replied, then a cautious voice filtered through. "Mercer, we're tracking your beacon. Rescue teams en route. Hold on." Relief washed over him like a sudden downpour, mingling with exhaustion and a profound sense of loss. "Copy that," he whispered. "Thank you." As the minutes stretched into hours, Alex drifted in the fragile limbo between consciousness and despair. He reflected quietly on the cost of his survival, the friends lost, the battles fought in shadows, the uncertain future of a species clinging to survival against impossible odds. The nebula's remnants faded behind him, swallowed by the endless black. Yet within the broken cockpit, a quiet resilience persisted. Alex's gaze hardened, resolve rekindling despite pain and weariness. "We endure," he thought, "because we must, because the fight is never truly over." The moral complexity of his choices weighed heavily, a burden for one man to bear. Yet in the heart of this high-tech warfare, where alien technology clashed with human spirit, Alex Mercer embodied the paradox of survival. Ruthless sacrifice tempered by hope, isolation pierced by the longing for connection. A distant glimmer appeared on the viewport, a faint beacon of approaching rescue. The ship, battered and broken, began to drift towards salvation. Alex braced himself, fingers steadying on the controls, eyes fixed on the horizon. He whispered softly, a vow carried into the void. "For humanity, for the future, we will rise again." The storm was over. The battle was won. But the war, the endless struggle between hope and despair, continued on. And in the cold silence of space, Captain Alex Mercer waited, a solitary figure bound by duty and dreams, embodying the unyielding resilience of the human spirit amid the unforgiving vastness of the cosmos.